Hey everybody, good morning, especially to those on the west coast of North America. But alright, so here I am. So yeah, I just streamed last night. It's not every day I get to say like welcome back from yesterday's stream, but yeah, I'm gonna be playing Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire on the Analog Pocket here. And after that, I mean, we're just gonna basically just be biding time until the Pokemon Present starts for Pokemon Day 2022. So let's hop over to. All right. There's my layout. I'm just gonna drop the system into the dock and pop and start it right up. Now, while I'm doing, before we get started, I want to jump over. I want to show you. Here's the setup I have for watching the actual stream later. But one thing I want to do is I want to have the interact window already open, which is what I like to do. There we go. So that's ready to go. Even when I switch back to our Pokemon Pinball layout for now. Just a little context as to the, for those unfamiliar with the device I'm using to play the cartridge. Where is... Huh. I'm playing using this gamepad. It's being a little... Come on. There we go. That's what I like to see. Disconnected. Huh. Disconnected. It wasn't acting like this yesterday. Come on. Connected. It connects and then instantly disconnects. Huh. And then I unplug it. It says disconnected again. Alright. It's unplugged, and it's just using the Bluetooth. That's all I could hope for. Actually, no. There's something very important. You have to have... Hold on. Only 57 minutes left, so I gotta have the timer going until the Pokemon Direct. When we get... the Pokemon Presents, excuse me. At one point, I think they did call them Pokemon Directs. Playing directly off of Nintendo Direct. But now they call them Pokemon Presents to differentiate the branding a bit more. But I just hit a button, and we switch right over to... so that's the live view of what's going on the... this thing. Apparently, there was no... The English... The North American... Pokemon Twitter feed has not provided any kind of official acknowledgement of this event, and they have not provided a link to. They basically only Asian sources, official Pokemon sources, have provided any kind of links or information relating to the Pokemon Presents. So at the last night I was like, wait a second, they never did this before. Because like early on in the history of Nintendo Direct, Nintendo Direct started off as a Japan only thing, then it eventually became international, and they would have regional variants of it for each marketing region. But Pokemon Direct is always international as far as I'm aware, and only places in Asia are really reporting on the Nintendo Direct. I mean, or the Pokemon Presents. Only the Asian Pokemon official sources. Yeah, Joe Merrick, who I think runs Cerebi, he tweeted out a source from, I don't know, like Pokemon Japan or something like that, that provided a link to the Pokemon Presents that's for the Asian market, but it should be either in English or with English subtitles. I'm not sure which. But we're going to make do. I don't know if maybe because of world events right now, for whatever reason, the English language Pokemon communication sources have been quiet lately. But even with a big event like this, you'd think they'd say, like, oh, this such and such is going to happen at such and such time, but they just haven't said anything. As of me checking on this. At about 15 minutes to the start of the event, I'm going to switch over to the... Pokemon Presents feed. But I'm also going to have it open so I can keep playing the game. Alright, thank you, Pikachu, for the ball save there. Yeah, this game I have an interesting history with. Hey, we got Wingull. I don't think you could catch I don't think it'll let you catch Pokemon you already caught again. I think each time you catch them, it's a one you need for your collection in one way or another. Yeah, this is a game I got long after the fact of Game Boy, long after the end of the Game Boy Advance's lifespan. At one point, I ended up getting, like when I was in college, ended up getting a job at a dollar store, and we only got a 10-minute break there, and I didn't really want to. It wasn't quite worth. Like, it wasn't enough time to get into something bigger like a DS game. And I had my Game Boy Micro, which I hadn't used a whole lot since I got it. So I'm like, hey, what would be a perfect, game to unwind with for just my few precious minutes of break time at this dollar store job I had. And then, oh, come on. I want to get that. I want to get that feel. And it's funny. This is kind of cute music. This isn't. I don't think this is the typical Ketchum mode theme. Maybe certain Pokemon have different themes when you're in the catch mode for them. Oh wow, we already caught a couple Pokemon. Yeah, this is the same copy, this is the same game file from back then, so I already have a few Pokemon in my Pokedex. I never 100%ed this game at all. Yeah, so I went on eBay and found a copy of Pokemon Pinball for Game Boy Advance. I thought that would be a good game to play on my breaks, and I was right. It's a good game to play just for my precious few minutes. Have a little juice box or a little Yoo-Hoo box or whatever. Because I buy all my snacks in advance from the same dollar store I was working at. So I had like a little 50-cent bag of potato chips and a little juice box. That's probably intended for like a very small child, but that's what they had to choose from. And it was, I got a whole bunch for $1, so I wasn't too upset. And I not only had a lot of time to have a larger, more in-depth snack. So I'd grab that. I just had a thought. I mean, I should have put this in earlier. Yeah, it was a bit of a scramble to get all this ready in time, even though I had most of it ready in advance. But I want to add... Let's add... Yeah, I want to go ahead and add... I don't know if there's spoilers in chat. I've been trying not to keep too close an eye on the rumors of what might be announced. I'm personally hoping... I just want to put this down in the corner so that in my thumbnail, if anyone's scrolling by, they can see that, yes, I am honed in on the event that's at hand. Why do I don't need 2 copies of the window open. Okay. Alright, so we're just going to close this down. Or not close it down, but just shrink it down. We're going to crop it down to the actual video only and not the chat and whatever those lovely people happen to be talking about at the moment. I'm sure there's a lot of spam right now. Potential spoilers, some trolling, the usual. There we go. So we're just going to and drag this, please. No, I don't know why, but Streamlabs desktop has had a lot of it's just gives me a lot of lag. Whenever I try to look up why is Streamlabs desktop giving me lag, it gives me stuff about lag in terms of my connection quality, like, oh, why am I dropping frames? Oh, no, I don't care about dropping frames. I care about the program itself just being slow to respond to my controls. Alright, so I just got to wait for my cursor to change from the resizing thing to the dragging arrow, and now I can drag that over to the corner. And it takes, like, once I click on something, I have to hold the mouse button for 15 to 30 seconds before the actual item starts to move. And that's why... Okay, there we go. Now it's moving. That was actually a very quick response there. And we just got to wait for it to change so we could shrink it down. Drop it down in the corner out of the way of the rest of the layout. So if anything changes on there, we'll see it instantly. There we go. Perfect. Let me just bring up the interact window. And interact. There we go. Just drag that right over to the corner. Take a sip of water. And continue. Thanks for bearing with me. And we lost our first ball of the stream. Yeah, this normally my streams go about for 4 hours. I really don't see myself going any more than an hour max past the actual event. I'll just hang around and talk about give in more detail, my opinions on what I just watched. Okay. Yeah, I forgot. This is really the first time since like more than a decade ago when I had that job at the dollar store. I mean, that's a cool thing. I got some use out of my Game Boy Micro because I hadn't used it a lot. It was a perfect little tiny system. I could throw in the little tiny locker they gave me there. And I guess and plus it wasn't at first I wasn't allowed to lock that locker for some reason. I wasn't allowed to put a lock on it because they didn't. I guess they wanted to make sure you weren't hiding merchandise in the locker. And so I wasn't allowed to lock it, so I just had my stuff in a locker that wasn't even locked, so any other harebrained employee there could just steal it. The stuff that I had in there. So the Game Boy Micro is obsolete, it's not very desirable, less attractive than my my Nintendo, my original model DS that I had at the time as my main system. But the neat thing about that, well, what was funny was one day, like, the general manager came in and, like, put zip ties on all the locks, on all the lockers. I'm like, why are there zip ties on and my stuff is stuck in there? They're like, oh, well, we're supposed to have zip ties on all the lockers that aren't being used. If you don't have a zip tie on it. Oh, wow, I have never seen this minigame before. Hey, Wishcash. You're adorable. Yeah, Wishcash is one of those Pokemon I like but don't think about very often. I never raised one or anything. Oh my gosh, look at the Celios playing basketball with the Pokeballs and with the Spheals. Using the Spheals as balls. That's adorable. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. Between Wailmer and Spheal, this generation had a lot of like spherical water type Pokemon. That's interesting. I never thought of that before. No, no, no. I only have a minute left. These minigames are tough. But they're always adorable. I know. I mean, my hopes for this Pokemon Direct, I really am... I don't want Gen 9. I don't want Pokemon Wind and Pokemon Rain or whatever else they come up with. I'm hoping for some really high-tier spin-offs. I want a new Pokemon Pinball, even though, honestly... I mean, how could you not put a Pokemon Pinball game on the DS where you could have the vertically oriented pinball table go across both screens? I mean, that was the system to put a Pokemon Pinball game on, and they failed to do so. But at least now, putting it on Switch, at least now it'll actually be accessible, because, you know, once the Wii U eShop goes away, I doubt you'll ever be able to buy Nintendo DS games again, frankly. And I'm shocked they even put them on Wii U. I mean, if there was one system ever made that was tailor-made for providing official emulation for Nintendo DS games, it would have been the Wii U. Oh, come on. What am I... Alright, at least... I didn't win, but at least I had fun. Actually, I want to take the... Can I get the glare off of Porygon 2 there? Yeah, let's get that glare off of him. Yeah, that's a little better. Hold on. Can I? Yeah, he's... I don't know, this time of day the lighting in the room I stream from isn't as charitable as it usually is, and oh well. Alright, let's try again. Let's try the Sapphire table this time. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I usually would, I guess, end up playing on the Ruby table. Now, what would have been cool, I forgot if this came... No, this definitely... I believe this came out after Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Because I haven't played Pokemon Pinball since back in the 90s when I rented it from Blockbuster. But what I remember in particular was having the game having all this interesting music in it. And then when I finally played Pokemon Gold and Silver, when that came out, I was like, oh wait, this is all music that was in Pokemon Pinball. So they kind of used Pokemon Pinball for Game Boy Color as a way to tease a lot of the music that would be appearing in Pokemon Gold and Silver. And the cool thing about Pokemon Pinball is that the Ketchum mode theme for the blue table, it used the theme, the season 1 theme for the Japanese Pokemon, for the Japanese theme for the Pokemon anime, and they used that as the Ketchum mode theme. So they incorporated elements from both the games and the show, which is not something that happens a whole lot. I mean, talking about Pokemon spin-offs, I hope I hope we don't get the mainline Pokemon announcements. I mean, we just had Pokemon Legends Arceus, a lot better than... there are a lot of skeptical people like me who, after Sword and Shield, were wondering about Game Freak's vision for the Pokemon series. Were they going to be excessively conservative and do the bare minimum going forward? But then they did an experimental game. There's still a lot of room for improvement, but there are a lot of... it's a great leap forward for the Pokemon franchise. I don't necessarily want every Pokemon game to have that same formula with that same formula or style. But applying some of the mechanics and concepts... Let's see, 30-second ball saver. We have 20 coins. 60-second ball saver. We could... Let's save our coins for now. It was a situation where if you were skeptical of Pokemon, I think me and a lot of other people, and I love Pokemon, I wasn't just trying to... People accuse me of being a toxic fan or irrationally hating on Game Freak. And I'm like, I'm not being a hater. I feel like sympathy for the team because I felt like they were rushed with Pokemon Sword and Shield. I think they could have made they wanted to make a much better game, but they never made an HD mainline Pokemon game before, and I think the project could have used at least another year in development. And I think the multimedia aspects of the Pokemon business, like the anime, the need for merchandise and shirts and stuff like that, that kind of thing, I think, pressured them to come out with... And plus, when they announced a new Pokemon game, like the next mainline Pokemon games were coming for Switch, it was in the context that Nintendo Switch just came out, but you could have... Nintendo Switch coming out the gate, yeah, it sold good from the beginning, but it very possibly could have been a Dreamcast situation, or even a Wii U situation, because like when... In Wii U's first 2 weeks on the market, it outsold the Xbox 360's first 2 weeks, and it outsold PlayStation 3's first 2 weeks. The narrative from the beginning was that Wii U was just a flop and everyone hated it, but it was actually outpacing the previously released HD systems from Microsoft and Sony. But that momentum didn't keep up, and it ended up sales ended up slowing down, and the system didn't have a long life. Dreamcast had record-breaking sales. It was a massive hit upon its first initial release, but the momentum didn't keep up. So, hey, we have Nintendo's worst-selling home console of all time, the Wii U. They rushed a replacement console to market, and with no guarantee that it would be successful. It sells well at first, with no guarantee those sales would keep up. So it was important. Oh, they rush announced years before they should have Metroid Prime 4, which we still have not seen even a screenshot of. Years later, they announced, oh, we're making the next mainline Pokemon games for Nintendo Switch. And the reason that was an important announcement for reasons it shouldn't have been, because for some weird reason, when Nintendo and Game Freak announced Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for Nintendo 3DS, like websites, like major websites like Forbes, were putting out articles saying, "Oh, Nintendo is refusing to be bold, and they're refusing to bring the Pokemon franchise to Switch, and their insistence on putting Pokemon out only on 3DS is going to kill Nintendo Switch." And there was actual dialogue and actual assumptions being made in mainstream gaming media that the announcement of Ultra Sun and Moon for 3DS, which were just director's cut versions of Sun and Moon, which were for 3DS, was some kind of declaration from Game Freak that they would refuse to bring mainline Pokemon to Nintendo Switch. And so, like, so I guess there was a lot of pressure to get the Pokemon out on Switch as soon as possible. But anyway, but yeah, but I was very happy with what they've... I'm still in the process of playing Pokemon Legends Arceus. I've been playing, 4 hours at a time, maybe twice a week at most. 4 or 5. I'm maybe 12 hours into Pokemon Legends Arceus at this point. I've only played that game on stream, and I only play it on stream for 2 to 4 hours at a time. And I've taken my time with it as well. Some of my people in chat are actually telling me that I've done more exploration and leveling up of Pokemon and catching Pokemon and fulfilling Pokedex requirements at this point in the game than they did. Which on one hand, like, yeah, I'm taking more time to sit around and play the game, I guess. So I'm taking longer in terms of, like, yeah, I'm loitering longer instead of progressing the story. Which is, I'm mainly interested in the story. I'm never going to 100% that game. But on the other hand, I feel like... how do I put this? Well, basically, that... because I've spent so much more time getting my Pokemon stronger earlier on, getting a higher rating in the Galaxy Expedition team earlier on, that when I go into the more the plot progression related quests, my Pokemon are going to be better equipped, so it's going to save me time that way instead of having to try a few times to beat a boss and realizing I have to go back and grind for a while. And they're already and I love the way the Pokedex works in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Because, I mean, when you hear, oh, you're going to complete a Pokedex, I'm thinking a traditional Pokedex like they've been in all the games where you catch the Pokemon and then you get a little, like, 2 or 3 sentence explanation of what the Pokemon is like. Here, it's more like you're completing an actual naturalist's field guide to the different creatures that fills in with more detail the more actions you observe them partaking in. As you catch multiple examples of the same creature, the more examples you evolve, the more you see them do different moves. And so really it is, I think, much more... it's funny how this is the first depiction of a Pokedex in Pokemon that is not an electronic device that automatically analyzes and records data on Pokemon. And yet it has the most detail on the actual creatures that you're catching and cataloging. Now, did I not catch this guy before? I feel like I've seen them on... Okay, we're almost caught him. Come on, Wailmer. Yeah, thank you, Wailmer. Came in clutch there. Shot him right into our target. So we caught Wailmer. No, we didn't catch Wailmer. We caught Silcoon. All right, so we've got bonus. Go to yes, I want to play the mini game. Yes, please let me play the mini game. Okay, and just for a quick highlight as to for those who are unfamiliar with what I'm doing here, this system here, is the Analog Pocket. I'm running the original cartridge here through the system, which is something I really appreciate being able to do. I'm not against PC emulation, but it's just a really cool way to be able to play my actual cartridges I played back in the day. Are you... And now I made my controller desync. Doggone. Please wake up. Please be good to me. Please be good to me. Alright. Hold on. Gotta get my cable. I gotta... Gotta plug it back in and then unplug it, and it should be okay again. Alright, so we're connected via USB this time. Alright, so in this minigame, I've got to knock up... I forgot what the goal of this minigame was, actually. It's been more than a decade since I've played this minigame, so... Yeah, but once again, this theme, I have not played Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire since 2005 when I played through it. And, I mean, when I got Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire in 2005, it was like a year after DS was already out. The fact that when I went into a Target that had just opened in my area, went to the game section and saw Pokemon Sapphire and Ruby just sitting in the case in the game section, I felt like, wow, I cannot believe this place still carries Game Boy Advance games and that Pokemon Ruby is just sitting there. So I got it for 30 bucks, brand new. Why don't... I just thought of something. Do I even have... I have to have my box. I know I have the manual somewhere with all my other GBA manuals, which is in storage in my old region. But I know for a fact I've got to have my box for Pokemon Ruby, for Pokemon Sapphire, which is the version I had. There's no way I don't have my box for Pokemon Sapphire, because even in 2001, when the Game Boy Advance came out, I was already saving my Game Boy Advance boxes. I have, I think, I have all but a couple of my GBA boxes, and somehow I even ended up getting a couple of boxes for games I don't have. Like, I have... Oh my gosh, I just realized. Here's the kind... Oh no, I lost my ball. Oh, okay, it respawned. Yeah, so I have to fight Dusclops here. I only have 20 seconds to do it. Yeah, I just realized I have the cartridge, the box, and the manual for Super Mario Advance, even though I never actually... I got them all separately. Yeah, like, what is it? Yeah, the manual I got at some point from a GameStop that is a Game Shop, not a GameStop. I just had a bunch of rogue Game Boy and Game Boy Advance manuals in it. And then, yeah, so that's where I got my manual for the game. And then I got the box from my friend, who he streams on here sometimes. He streams on Twitch sometimes. Well, he doesn't, not these days, not that much that I've seen. Farron Boy here on Twitch. His copy of the game, like, he just had the box, and I don't think he was going to save it, so I asked if I could have the box. He just gave it to me. So there I had the box, and then it wasn't until 2015 or 16, not too long before I left my old home region, my old stomping grounds of the New York City area, when I got Super Mario Advance from a retro game shop on 48th Street. And I wanted to, yeah, once again, I was just like, I would be in the city, I'd be on the subway, on the Long Island Railroad, and I didn't feel like carrying around, like, I don't wear cargo pants or anything that often. I have one pair of khaki shorts that has big pockets in it for carrying a 3DS or some other larger dorky equipment like that. But I never really had anything. Yeah, I just didn't feel like carrying my 3DS every single time I wanted to go somewhere or do something in the city. And when you're moving around in Manhattan, the less you have on you, like it's nice moving around in Manhattan, Brooklyn, whatever, and you don't have to carry on a backpack. And then when you go into some museums and stuff like that, you have to go through a security checkpoint if you have a backpack, or even check your bag. And you just don't have to deal with all that when you don't carry that with you. So, And plus, you're less likely to get just randomly stopped by the police out on the street to be stopped and frisked. But that's another story. So I wanted to get my get some use out of my Game Boy Micro. I love that little thing, beautiful little piece of hardware. But it came so late in the GBA's lifespan, I didn't get to use it much. I used it a little in like late high school or whatever around the time when that thing came out. But it was already in DS era. I think I played a little Mario Party Advance on there. I played a little Minish Cap on there, Legend of Zelda. And I went to this retro game shop on 48th Street because I knew that it had a really good reputation. I didn't have to worry about counterfeit games or anything like that. And that's also where I got my copy at around the same time and reason. So I got Game Boy, I got I got Super Mario Advance, which is a game I had wanted since the Game Boy Advance came out. I had rented it from Blockbuster a few times, but I just coincidentally never got around to actually buying it. I remember even in 2004 or 5 when the Greatest Hits lineup was coming out for Game Boy Advance, when they were releasing some early GBA games for only 20 bucks a pop. And I just passed up on it then. I just like, oh, I'll get it, and then I just ended up not getting it. End of ball bonus. Okay. Yeah, and great use of Speoink, the little spring pig Pokemon, to as the ball launching mechanism. All right. So okay, we rolled it through. Oh, we got the meter about halfway through. Yeah, I need to get the manual and read up the proper actual formal rules for all these different targets and stuff. I mean, unlike something like NES Pinball, where it's more like an actual old pinball machine, here it's a little more fantastic, but it's a bit more self-explanatory in terms of what the targets do and what the goals and objectives are. The different things you could aim for activating, the different modes you could trigger. I don't think that I remember there being a multi-ball mode in Pokemon Pinball for Game Boy Color. And we are down to less than a half hour before the Pokemon Presents. And that is a live feed of the YouTube page down in the corner. Oh, we got it. Oh, come on, Poochyena, come on. We want a little gray doggo Pokemon puppy before the stream today. Yeah, I'm hoping for, if I could choose anything, I want either new Pokemon Pinball or a new Pokemon Puzzle League. Hey, I'll tell you what. If they add Pokemon Puzzle League to Nintendo Switch Online, I will swallow my pride and pay the upgraded cost for the upgraded Nintendo Switch Online, because I only have regular Nintendo Switch Online, which I'm going to be using next month to play Kirby's Adventure. You know what? I just thought of something. I have Kirby's Adventure on my NES Classic Edition. It's about, yeah, you know what? I'm going to use, yeah, because then I could use my, I've had an NES Classic Edition since before I started streaming. I've basically only played it, I just plugged it in to test my monitors, and I've never used it for anything. And I got it mainly just to be able to stream, because I'm not against PC emulation, but whenever possible, and up to this point I've been able to stick to this, I prefer to use officially authorized versions of games. Like, like the Virtual Console, something like Nintendo Switch Online. Yes, it's emulation, but it's official emulation. Like, I prefer, my first option, when possible, will always be means that reflect part of the official release history of the system, of the particular title. Like, if you looked on the Wikipedia page for Super Mario World, it was never released for Windows PC. You know what I mean? Whereas it was released on the Wii Virtual Console, for Nintendo Switch Online's service. It was released on the Super NES Classic Edition. So I prefer to use methods that reflect the game's official release history. Yeah, so here, I'm not playing it on the original system, but I am playing an original cartridge of the game. And I also use, for Sega cartridges, I use the another similar system by the same company, the Analog Mega SG. This, what I'm using here is the Analog Pocket, which plays handheld Nintendo games natively, and also has adapters for other games. Right now, the only adapter out is the Game Gear one, which I do have coming on the way. And I do have the cartridge adapter for Game Gear on the Mega SG, but having the cartridge adapter for the Analog Pocket will let me play Game Gear games on an actual handheld again, which will be great. And it'll let me switch straight from going to Game Gear games to Game Boy games midstream. So I want to have some streams where, for instance, I might play, I mean, this, unfortunately, this is not Super Mario Land and Sonic the Hedgehog right here, but I might play, like, let's say I have Alleyway here. Like, let's say this is, if I had played Kirby's Pinball Land on Game Boy, then Sonic Spinball, which I have here on Game Gear, I play those both on the same stream, comparable games on competitive systems from the time, and compare them head-to-head and see which one wins out. Although I played the Genesis version of Sonic Spinball on the Wii Virtual Console. I now have it for Genesis. I tested it on my Mega SG to make sure it worked, but I never played it, really. Oh my goodness. Okay. Doggone. Alright, that did not go well. But, yeah, if they... Yeah, this is... Okay, realistic expectations. My number one announcement. And this is unlikely, yet highly realistic because of how low effort it would be to pull this off. My number one wish... My two wishes for the Pokemon Presents presentation would be no Pokemon Gen 9 for something that a lot of people are hoping for not to get announced. So I'm hoping for a negative here. I'm hoping Pokemon Gen 9 does not get announced. Then my second wish is for Pokemon Puzzle League I mean, I already have a copy of Pokemon Puzzle Challenge for Game Boy Color coming. I'll be playing that on the Analog Pocket. Yeah, I want no Gen 9 and Pokemon Puzzle League to get announced for Nintendo Switch Online. Hey, Spaceship Rat, how you doing? Yeah, and I was one of those people. I'm not a hardcore. I mean, it's weird. I look at my shirt, look what I'm doing, and everything. Yet I do not consider myself a hardcore Pokemon fan. I don't play competitively, or whatever. But let's see. I'm playing this. I'm really happy I'm able to play that. So I'm playing the cartridge on the Mega SG for Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. Yesterday I was playing a Pokemon trading card game here. Yeah, that's one thing I would like. I would like a version of... Yeah, Puzzle League, if they made a new version, if they make a new Puzzle League game, they'll probably put it on mobile. And honestly, like, the Puzzle League franchise in general, and it's funny, right here I've got Dr. Mario / Puzzle League for the GBA. And the funny thing about that version of Puzzle League is that it is the only version of the Panel de Pon or Puzzle League series that is not themed, does not have any sort of theming around it. Because original Panel de Pon had the sort of fairy characters that were unique to the franchise. In North America and Europe, they changed the name to Tetris Attack and styled it after the Yoshi's Island series, or the Yoshi's Island game, the only game out at the time. Then on N64, they took the Japanese Panel de Pon game, which was once again themed around those fairy characters, and they changed it over to Pokemon. And then they released Pokemon Puzzle Challenge in Japan and North America, which was Puzzle League themed around Pokemon, but on Game Boy Color. And the thing I always found bizarre about how the series, the fact that when they just called the game Puzzle League when they brought it to GBA, and as a result of that, ever since then, the series has been known as Puzzle League. But the fact that the international name of that series, Puzzle League, is called that because one game in the series was themed around Pokemon, and they called it Pokemon Puzzle League to sort of, in a desperate attempt to tie the game in to the concept of the Pokemon League. And because of that, somehow the international name for the series ended up being Puzzle League. But the GBA version of Puzzle League is the only version of that game that is not themed around any other characters or franchise of any sort. And hey, Spaceship Rat, want to hear some more trivia? How about this? Okay, so we've got a Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine on Genesis and Game Gear in the early 90s, right? We have a Japanese puzzle game that was unrelated to Sonic. They theme it around Sonic for the international release in North America and Europe. And they theme it around Sonic the Hedgehog. But they don't just theme it around Sonic the Hedgehog games. They theme it specifically around the cartoon adaptation of Sonic the Hedgehog, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, which was released by Deke for the North American and European markets. And so they made a puzzle tie-in for an existing game franchise specifically based around the cartoon adaptation, using characters that are only from the cartoon adaptation. And then you have Pokemon Puzzle League, which was a Japanese puzzle game, the Panel de Pon game for N64. When they do the international release for it, they theme it around an existing, a different game franchise being Pokemon, theming it specifically around the anime adaptation of Pokemon, using characters that only appeared in the Pokemon anime. And so, it's funny, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine and Pokemon Puzzle League are both puzzle game spin-offs of video games that are also kind of serve as some of the only video game adaptations that are based around the animated television shows for those series instead of the main games. You could argue Pokemon Snap is kind of also an anime tie-in, featuring the game-specific versions of Professor Oak, featuring the Todd or Snap character from the anime. But it's probably more true that the appearance of Todd or Snap in the Pokemon anime was more of a tie-in for the games, more so than the games being an adaptation of the character. Oh yeah, but the Spaceship Rap, I don't think I've seen you around in my chat before. It said you were a first-time chatter. But sometimes I'll see a first-time chatter, and it's like, no, I've seen you around. It's been maybe a couple of months since I've seen you around, but I've definitely, Oh, come on. I want to... Yes, we got it. We're gonna travel to a new region, a new part of the map here. Just cruising for Pokemon Direct channels? Alright, well, thanks for dropping by. Hey, if you find someone who's putting on a better show than me, I won't take it personally, because for something like this, you definitely have a lot of options to choose from. Actually, about now, let's see. I'm gonna check, I just want to check on the internets real quick. Let's see if there's an English, North America specific link. I'm gonna check. Okay. As of 20 minutes ago. Okay, we just got the international link right now, finally, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to just change out from the Japanese one. Yeah, I'm not a Pokemon specific streamer. I do a lot of retro stuff. I'm sort of a retro variety kind of person, but I've played some modern stuff too. Namely, recently, Pokemon Legends Arceus has been. I want to bring up my interact window again. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I've been. Yeah, let's just keep going. Yeah, I started streaming in January 2020 for yeah, no, not January 2020. I started streaming in like May 2020 during the deepest part of the lockdowns, as something just to kill time, since I was home all the time, and I work from home and do freelance type stuff anyway. So I was already at home a lot, and it's like, well, I have even more time to kill, so why don't I just go ahead and start streaming, which is something I want to do for years. Yeah, I've played I played a lot of. I was in the 2000 early mid 2000 and like the 2010s. I was a I had around 2,000 subs on YouTube, and I still have that YouTube channel, which I mainly use for uploading my VODs to. So if you would type in !VODs, it brings up a link. If you want to look at some of my recent stuff here on Twitch, you can see some of the stuff I've been putting out lately and get a sense of, you know, I have the kind of stuff you'll like. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of, since the Analog Pocket finally shipped to me, which when I purchased the Analog Pocket like 2 years ago, when I did that pre-order, oh yeah, even Puzzle League? Yeah, Puzzle League's a really comfy game. I've got Dr. Mario Puzzle League here, which is a game I wanted since it came out. I just slept on it and didn't end up buying it at the time. It's not a game I see a lot, but it's not a hard game to get either. It's not like it's rare. It's just kind of uncommon. I haven't seen it in retro game shops or anything. But, like, coming up, I'll be playing Kirby's Adventure for the first time since 2001. And it's crazy because in 2001, I found Kirby's Adventure in a thrift shop, and I'm like, wow, Kirby's Adventure, this game came out in 1993. You know, this game is so old. And now, that would be like playing a game from like 2014 or 15. But at the time, like, oh wow, it's NES. Like, it seems so ancient. But yeah, so I'll be playing Kirby's Adventure for the first time since 2001. And the lead up, if I had Kirby's Dream Land, I had it back in the 90s. I had Kirby's Dream Land because I got my Game Boy and all my games back in 95. And I got my Game Gear. And the first game I ever played on stream, it's a game I go back to occasionally trying to do a perfect no deaths run on. Which is Sonic the Hedgehog for Game Gear, which is really my first modern video game, I guess you could say, which I got back in 91. I don't have my Game Gear is broken now, but I have a lot of my old Game Gear collection, and I was so happy that my first stream was able to be playing Sonic the Hedgehog on the Analog Mega SG, playing the very same cartridge that my parents gifted to me, along with my system, back in 91. Because I had known about video games prior to Sonic the Hedgehog, I knew there was a Nintendo Entertainment System. I'd see commercials for it on TV. I knew there was a Super Nintendo Entertainment System. But I didn't really care much about video games. I just knew it was some kind of electronic game that you played using your television. I was kind of passively aware that there was like an NES and a Super NES and that one was somehow better than the other. I have a lot of VHS tapes from back then, because my parents were visionaries. They used to record a lot of what I had on VHS, a lot of what I'd watch on TV. And I have a lot of those tapes now. I have tapes of the Smurfs playing on CBS or NBC or whatever station they were running on, where I actually have tapes with commercials for the original Legend of Zelda on. I just didn't care about video games at the time I was watching these tapes. And it's like, oh my gosh, I actually have tapes with this on there. And one thing, I like to tie in, I like to have a lot of the historical context for the games that I play. Like, for instance, I played, a few days, like a week ago like the Wednesday before last, I played, never got a chance to play on any PC. Your dad was PC Master Race back in 93. Oh, wow. Because it's kind of funny, because on one hand, because I was playing, speaking of PC games, I was playing Commander Keen. I played through the first two Commander Keen games on stream. And it was the first time I'd played really properly through those games since the 90s. I beat the first Commander Keen back like in the 90s, but I never beat the second one. The last level of the second one was so hard. So I 100%ed the second Commander Keen game for the first time in my life. However, I encountered an oversight in the game design. Your first console was when you were over 20 and sneakily bought a 3DS. Huh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, my parents were pretty chill with game. Like I remember like being in like yeah, I remember coming home from getting off the school bus and walking in. And oh yeah, the oversight in yeah, that's another thing. We're okay. Let's have in 5 minutes. I'm gonna switch over to the stream. And I'm gonna switch over to our. Actually, no. What I'm gonna do, for now, I'm gonna switch over to this mode, and in 5 minutes, I'm gonna switch over. I'm gonna unplug because you have a dual monitor setup. But it was an oversight in the game design of the second Commander Keen game that allows you to complete one of the stages without actually triggering the win condition for the stage. So I completed the stage, I found the exit, but they did not. But it did not give me credit for beating the stage, and you cannot replay stages. So I beat the last level, and I'm like, that's funny. Why am I on the world map with every stage completed? And so I ended up just going to YouTube and watching the ending on YouTube. And so I actually enjoyed that. That was a cooler experience, a cooler story to tell than actually beating the game. So I will go back and actually properly beat the game at some point. Well, I did properly beat it. I just didn't trigger the... I beat the game. I completed every single stage. I just didn't trigger the ending. And another PC game I played was Helios, which is... I'm going to type in the command for Helios, which is not... I happen to know what it is. Which is a game I go back to here and there, especially around Halloween time. And Helios was a game I played back in the 90s. And... it's a game that has sort of a fourth wall breaking creepypasta story. Kind of an abrupt question, but am I on the spectrum? Well, if you, I did tag autism on there. Yes, I am on the spectrum. I was diagnosed back in the early 90s at a major university hospital in the region. And I did receive certain services throughout my educational career. I also have a fine motor disability. Oh wow! Did you? I thought you were asking that because of my tags, and you ended up just asking. Presumably, I'm guessing you might have even just did. When you say you see it now, was it just in terms of what I said, or just in terms of the actual tag, and you didn't notice, and you just asked, just as a matter of conversation? Oh yeah, no, it's a lot of people, a lot of people are either like, wow, I would have never guessed you were on the spectrum, or, oh, it was extremely obvious you were on the spectrum. And this does, the stream does have a tendency to cross over with trains. I've done streams where I'll play a game like NES Pinball, or, now, I'll probably do this with Pokemon Pinball someday, and what I'll do is I'll have it so that I'll be playing the game up in the corners, a relatively low attention game, like a pinball game or something like that, and I'll play the game, and in the corner I'll have some train videos running. I'll run some of my favorite old train VHS tapes from the 80s or earlier, about like the Talaclyn Railway in Wales, or the Snowdon Mountain Railway, or old British Railways VHS tapes. In fact, usually, you're newly diagnosed and are learning about it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was, the school district I was in at the time I was diagnosed was pretty progressive in terms of identifying and sending students for testing, because I was able to get sent to... I happen to have a major university hospital in the New York City metropolitan area that I was sent to, and I remember going there, and it was like a long drive. Just I remember sitting in the car playing Game Boy and Game Gear, my mom driving me there, and going to this hospital-like setting where feel like I'm basically just playing a bunch of weird games and doing a bunch of puzzles, and I'm having fun, and as well as doing sort of like math sheets and stuff like that. And this is in the early 90s, so none of it was computerized or anything like that. A lot of it was pen and paper based. And then after that, I'm like, wow, I'm getting all this this cool special services in school and stuff that I'm actually able to keep up with a lot of the other students. And the teacher I had, and I had the same teacher for first and second grade. It was kind of an experimental classroom where they had first and second grade students in the same classroom setting. And so the students that were in that classroom for first grade stayed in that same classroom for second grade, and they rolled in new first grade students. So it was kind of an experimental classroom. And then on top of that, I was coincident, and she wasn't a special ed teacher or anything. And I think that the teacher was kind of just sort of sick of me, because in some ways I was like way ahead of the other students, and then other ways I was way behind. So things that felt like I was acting up or acting out was actually just sort of, you know, autism spectrum stuff. Now, excuse me, I'm just going to go behind my setup, and what I need to do, I'm gonna unplug I'm gonna plug it in to my my secondary HDMI port. There we go. So now my PC is now running across dual screens. Oh yeah, and that's like one of the things I was doing that was annoying my teacher so much, and this is hilarious. Now, what I could do, what I'm gonna try and do. Oh wow, it's funny that the Asian stream has chat disabled, and this version doesn't. Yeah, so now, and the monitor directly in front of me where I'm playing the game. Now I've got where I was playing the game, and now I have my computer setup is across both screens. And I'm gonna actually look at my well, I'm gonna play with slight lag using my broadcast software. Do I like? You know what? I want my lighting on my face needs to be a little better. I'm gonna turn out my my lighting a bit, just a little bit. Okay. All right, there we go. Oh, so you were in Italy. Okay, so are you still based in Italy, or yeah, I don't have any guesses. Maybe Pokemon Sleep. Of course, we're gonna get some app-related stuff. But what I'm hoping for, a new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game. That would be really cool. I probably wouldn't play it. Frankly, Pokemon, I love the world and the characters and the concept of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon so much, but it breaks my heart because the actual roguelike RPG gameplay and battle system I am not a fan of. Yeah, it's not that I dislike it. Like, I love the world and setting so much. Like, if I had a choice between going to, like, the regular Pokemon worlds or going to the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon world, I'd probably rather go to the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon world. Alright, so we've got 2 minutes to go. Yeah, so my hopes are... my hopes are no Gen 9. Yeah, no Gen 9. And, just for clarification, even in America, having the kind of services are around... that was, being in the New York City area... and near a major university hospital that was doing a lot of research on stuff like that was probably, even in America, like, that was kind of like cutting edge stuff sort of in the early 90s. But yeah, my hopes are Pokemon. It's such a low bar of expectation. My main hope is Pokemon Puzzle League for Nintendo Switch Online, in which case I will pay the exorbitant extra fee for N64 functionality. Okay, a minute to go. And so now I'm able to look directly ahead to watch the Pokemon Present. So if I need to adjust the volume on the stream, if I'm overpowering the Oh yeah, a Breath of the Wild style universe for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. That would be incredible. I never even considered that. That would be absolutely incredible. Alright, so hopefully the sound works. I mean, it worked earlier when I was testing this with using different other YouTube videos. Hopefully we don't get too much lag. Cross our fingers for a good... Actually, I need to go to the... There we go. That's more like it. No, I'm dragging that. I didn't want to drag that into... That's what... Okay, I just want to have that open in another tab in case something silly happens. Alright, here we go. Come on. My only hopes, no Gen 9 and Pokemon Mystery Dungeon for, I mean Pokemon Puzzle League for Nintendo Switch Online. Oh, thanks for the follow, Spaceship Rat. Yeah, that was a doorworm there on my alert thing. I'll explain doorworms later. They're kind of my signature sort of mascot critters for the channel and my my lore for my fiction. Yeah, if you look on my About page on Twitch later, I plan out my streams and schedule the time and for them and everything months in advance. Yay, we have a countdown to the countdown, and we have official confirmation that the volume works. You know, it's funny, I've had more lag problems with video premieres, when it's a premiere of a pre-recorded video, than I have when they would do it actual live stream style. Yeah, but if you look on my About page on Twitch, I have like scheduled up to like right now about a month from now, and then behind the scenes I have it scheduled up like a couple months from now. I'm gonna be playing like Animorphs for Game Boy Color next Saturday. I'm gonna be playing Kirby's Adventure on NES leading up to Kirby and the Forgotten World, which will be I'll be playing on Nintendo Switch. I'll be playing Bomberman 64 using the Wii U Virtual Console, a game I love to rent. And I didn't even rent it that many times back in the 90s. I used to sing the jingle from the American Bomberman 64 commercial, which is sort of a parody of the old Spider-Man theme, you know, Spider-Man. So they did Bomberman. So yeah. Another thing, Pokemon Puzzle League for N64 Online on the Nintendo Switch Online, and maybe any form of the modern Pokemon trading card game for Switch, so that this doesn't have to be the last Pokemon version of the Pokemon trading card game ever released for an actual Nintendo system. Yeah, I think you might be Greenwich Mean Time -2, because my region's Greenwich Mean Time -5. So here we go. Hello, Mr. Ishihara. I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit.
Is the date the Pokemon Red and Pokemon Green games were released in Japan, marking the beginning of the Pokemon series.
Is that a CG Pikachu in the background? Or is that like an animatronic?
Around the world.
That's got to be CG.
Thank you, each and every one of you.
Hey,
today, we would like to present the latest updates on a number of games.
You know, I forgot. I've got the Pokemon trading card game. I actually have it complete in box, which is cool.
Please take it away.
Hello.
I don't think I've seen this fellow before.
From the Pokemon Company. Allow me to jump straight into sharing the latest updates with you all. First is an update on Pokemon Go.
Yeah. So here's something cool. I'll share this. You know what? I could pull this up on YouTube after this, but actually I can. I'm gonna actually get ready to do that right now.
Pokemon that first appeared in the Alola region of the Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon games will be appearing in the world of Pokemon Go beginning March 1st. Until then, Alolan Exeggutor will be appearing in Pokemon Go. We hope you'll try catching them for yourself.
Yeah, and since I have the YouTube thing already set up, this will be really easy to do. But when
Now, I'd like to share some news about a few of our other games.
Alright. Okay, this is stuff I don't really care about. I never played this, never will.
This February,
but,
Pokemon Masters EX celebrates its 2.5-year
You thought Alolan Pokemon were already in Go already?
Now,
yeah, I never was into Pokemon Go. Because, like, the way my imagination works, it's like I was already there. Like, I don't need an app to imagine magical creatures in the real world. Both Pokemon and as well as magical creatures of my own creation.
Red, Signasuit Blue, or Signasuit Leaf. But you can also receive 5,000
I'm gonna turn this down
gems.
a little bit. Yeah, so
Tomorrow, May and Latias arrive. With May and
what was it that I was doing? You know what? Like when Pokemon Black and White came out, which were based on the New York City metropolitan area, like if you look at Nacrene City in Pokemon Gold or Pokemon Black and White, I actually know that neighborhood. I would go there and hang out just because I like to go to that neighborhood. Hey, Flygon hype. One of my favorites, Flygon.
They can create several weather
And
conditions.
I would actually was going around to different parts of New York City and showing the actual areas. Kept imaginary borrowers on occasion. Yeah, that's cute. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, I guess like augmented reality has been a little funny to me because it's like I have a wild imagination, the stuff that goes on in my head, but more Pokemon Cafe Remix, a Pokemon puzzle game that has the comfiest theming and aesthetic possible, yet I've never even given it a chance. Like, I don't know how good this game would play without the touchscreen. Like, if this was on Wii U, I probably would have played it. Like, but I don't know how satisfying this would be playing it using a control. I mean, I've got to give this a try at some point.
And unlock hidden specialty gimmicks that give you an edge in puzzles. The mythical Pokemon
No, they actually call them gimmicks in the game.
First time in Pokemon Cafe Remix during your deliveries. Its powerful skill will
a cafe full of Pokemon that are making the drinks and the treats. That's like the comfiest aesthetic possible. And yet I have not even touched this game. Mainly for that reason. It seems so focused on using the touchscreen. Yeah, it just seems so focused on using the touchscreen that I don't even know if it's playable in docked mode. And if it is, I don't even know how satisfying it would be to play it with a controller if you can play it in docked mode. Him and Hooper are the only baby legendaries that aren't hard brats in the movie. I liked Shaman. I liked the Shaman movie. The Giratina and the Sky Warrior. I liked like the ground form Shaman is just so shy and cutesy, especially in the English dub. And I do like how when it becomes the Sky form, it becomes super confident and like yeah, I'm the best. Like, thank me, I just saved your butt. Like, I like Shaman. But yeah, they do make a lot of the smaller cutesy legendaries. They tend to make them kind of bratty now that you mention it. Like I love the Zoroark movie, the 13th Pokemon movie. I like that movie a lot. But they did make like Zoroark really kind of bratty. Who else can I think of? But Shaman, you remember Shaman being one of the worst in terms of being bossy and bratty? In Sky form, Shaman was really bossy and bratty and self-confident. But I think but in ground form, which it is for about half the movie, with the initial form they find Shaman in, they're very shy and demure and sort of sheepish. So I think they accentuated that Pokemon sort of when it gets the Sky form and becomes super, bratty and outgoing and self-confident, because the ground form was so shy and sweet.
Clear all special missions, and you can obtain Hoopa's
So,
Unite license.
I'm looking at my shelf over here. I have the DVD for the Hoopa movie, and I don't think I watched it once. I just remember, like, the Hoopa movie was the last movie that recycled that same formula they went through, because arguably from the first movie, especially more arguably from the second movie. But from the second movie onwards, there's like this series of like a couple of dozen tropes that keep repeating themselves.
Allow me to share some news
like
about the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl games.
I was really unimpressed with these games. Like, if Pokemon, I did not even buy them. I was just not interested. If these were the first ever Pokemon remakes, I would have bought them and enjoyed them. But compared to every previous Pokemon remake, these set a new low. These set a new standard for what Pokemon remakes might be in the future that is nowhere near as ambitious as what previous Pokemon remakes were. The Volcanion movie is still along the tropes. No, wait, there was a Volcanion movie? There was? I forgot. Yeah, the Volcanion movie, yeah. No, it wasn't until they started the reboot with the 20th movie, the Pokemon the movie I Choose You, that they really got away from that same formula. And it's like the same formula. There would always be a Pokemon that speaks with telepathy, and they'd always be... Okay, let's hear about this. I haven't beat this game yet. If they spoil things, I don't care that much, but... So here's a game I'm actually playing and I'm actually interested in. So let's see what they have for this. Probably paid DLC. Alright. And I have not really played through Sword and Shield, so and if there are any Sword and Shield Pokemon in here, I'm not even going to recognize them. Like when I happen to have a bunch of packs of Pokemon cards right here that are unopened. I'd buy one pack every couple of weeks. And I just stopped buying them because I'm not opening them because I still have yet to categorize and organize all the cards that I still have. I only started collecting Pokemon cards. Wow, it doesn't say DLC, it says software update. Huh. Is there going to be a software update as well as paid DLC? Yeah, I was aware of these forms for Dialga and Palkia.
We are pleased to announce the Daybreak update for Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Well, if it's an update,
at no cost.
Okay, it's free, so that's nice. That's nice.
That is causing mass outbreaks of Pokemon across the Hisui region. You'll also be able to engage in new Pokemon battles together with your ally Pokemon at the training grounds. The Daybreak update will be available later after this presentation ends.
So I wonder if these like scenarios and additions are things that
we'd like to offer you some items that should come in handy.
Yeah, no, it's that nice. It's fun being able to, because I never played Sword and Shield, so it's fun being able to open a pack of Pokemon cards and meet new Pokemon for the first time. And the reason I started collecting Pokemon cards, frankly, is because I had a living Pokedex up through Sun and Moon. And it's like, Sword and Shield is out, there's no... Huh. So they're doing basically Pokemon Origins type thing for the Pokemon Legends Arceus game. That's cool.
What did you think? We hope you all look forward to how Pokemon games will continue to evolve in the future. We've shared with you today the latest information about a variety of our games, but to wrap things up, we'd like to end this presentation by sharing one more video.
Alright, let's see.
Thank you for tuning in.
Please not Gen 9. If it's not Gen 9, if it is Gen 9, I won't complain, but Pokemon, is this Detective Pikachu? Because I know they're working on the sequel for that. The game, I mean, the Pokemon, the Detective Pikachu game, specifically, I mean. Oh, wait, was Detective Pikachu made by Game Freak? Huh. The Room of Requirement from Harry Potter? Oh yeah, coffee, it's gotta be Detective Pikachu. Let's see. Was I right? Let's see what they come up with. Hmm? What is this? This looks... Is this going to be Gen 9 after all? But yeah, but what was the deal with that live action part? Oh man, Viper! What? No, this can't be DLC. This is clearly in modern times. Yeah, this might be Gen 9 right here. Yeah, Gen 9 confirmed at this point, pretty much. I'm trying to tell what part of the world is this supposed to be? Germany? Yeah. Yep. Here we go. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. I'm getting German vibes. I don't know. What? Late this year? Come on. I'm annoyed that it's so soon. I wanted it to be later. The music, if I had to guess at this point a region, I'm guessing maybe Germany? No, because the thing is, all right, there we go. The live action, yeah, it did look kind of time travel-y. So how about this? How about, I want to show this off since we're in, yeah, I could very easily pull this up. So if I hit my we're gonna drop this video in here. Yeah, this is filmed with a potato, but
prior to the release of Pokemon Black and White.
Yeah, so these are the Pokemon location hunts I was doing in the Gen 5 era. Where because I lived in the New York City area, so I was able to just go to the actual regions that parts of the. Are you aware of this? That I mean, people know that Castelia City was based on. People say, "Oh, Castelia City was based on New York City," but they don't realize the connections without the Univers region go further than that.
May have inspired aspects of the Univers region. In this video, I'll be taking you on a tour of Nacrene City and Pinwheel Forest, which in real life are now.
Honestly, the fact, like, if Gen. Honestly, the fact that it's clearly based on the Arceus engine is, I have more confidence. I mean, come on, late 2022. That seems too soon, honestly. But look at this. I love that shot. I love that shot I was able to do.
Actually exist in the real life location, though unfortunately many of these tracks have been removed or partially paved over. Distinctive feature.
Yeah, I love this shot I was able to do.
And the numerous parks at the foot of the Brooklyn Bridge, which is represented in the game as the Sky Arrow Bridge.
Just straight from the scene in the game, and then just pull the DS down. And it looks exactly like that. I love that shot so much. Unfortunately, those tracks I was on, they have paved over those since then, which is very sad. Now, these tracks were part of what was called the J Street Connecting Railway, which was, I mean, like in the game, it's like all these warehouses and stuff that are right by the coast. They're right by the bay, and there are all these warehouses. So they had a lot of rail cars coming off of the. Now I could like I have actual photographs of Junichi Masuda from his blog that he took like before Pokemon Black and White came out. Where he's like, oh look, I'm in Nacrene City. Like this boarded up warehouse right here. Now that is now a mall. They preserved this building right here with that courtyard inside. They preserved the original outer walls and built kind of a mall inside it. It's really cool.
Though now they're stocked by semi-trucks instead of railroad cars. Scenes closely mirroring.
Oh yeah, and they also based on the anime as well. So.
In the anime, Jesse and James of Team Rocket case Castelia City for escape routes for their next heist, and while doing so, through dialogue provide exposition
like
about
this right here. Hold on. This right here. Like, I'm so glad I took these photos because this is all totally changed now. Like that red thing, that is a sort of an alarm where you could call the fire department or the police by pulling one of the handles. where you're standing at and looking across the street. Well, first off, they've now paved over those tracks, which only happened like a year ago, which is or in the last year or so, which is unfortunate. But this gated off area that's a parking lot, that is now a public park, and it is really nice.
Train tracks and warehouses, which suggests that the creators and writers of the games and anime did some actual first-hand research.
Yeah, look at the actual spot compared to, like, they very clearly like used Junichi Masuda's photos from when he visited this place in real life. So here's the little area in Akron City with the umbrellas and the little cafe, and here it is in real life. Like, that's very specifically taken exactly from that spot in the game. I mean, yeah, there's a pizza shop next door to the place with the black awning that I used to like to go to a lot. And actually, what I used to like to do is after Nintendo's, I'd go to the Nintendo store in New York City. Oh, what's up, Spaceship Rat? After this video, I'm gonna go back to Pokemon because I have actually a few videos like this, but someone's hypothesizing in another channel that,
unlike in the games and anime, where the Skyara Bridge is a local but notably distant location from Akron City, Dumbo is directly in the shadow of both the Brooklyn Bridge.
Violet and Red is referring to the light spectrum. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because isn't Violet at the end and isn't Red at the other end or something like that? Roy, yeah, Roy, Red, and then Roy G. Biv, right? And then V for Violet would be at the end. Yeah, I actually used my kindergarten. Oh man, oh my gosh, I just used a photo from like the 70s of this spot. Okay. Okay, this shot right here. This shot now. This area, this is Washington Street. This is such a touristy area now. And this photo, I think, is from the 70s. But even like 15 years ago, it still pretty much looked like this. Yeah, pity they use Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, or else they'd have names for the remakes already. Infrared and Ultraviolet. Yeah, that would have been hot. Yeah, so those cobblestones there are... Yeah, so Infra Scarlet doesn't quite work. Now, okay. Now, I did not realize... Well, here, this is when they were still renovating the Brooklyn Bridge. And I recognized at the time how cool it was to live near all this stuff. But, like, I didn't realize one of the buildings that it was still, okay, right here. No, I have to go back a bit. That building that's being constructed to the right of the tower of the Brooklyn Bridge, I did not realize that was the new World Trade Center. I did not realize that I was photographing the One World Trade Center as it was being built, because it's completed now. But I did not realize that at the time. And I also have some shots of the Verizon building before they renovated it. Because what they did with the Verizon building, it was like a giant concrete building. They took out a big chunk of it and replaced it with glass, so it's less ugly, I guess. Yeah, all of this stuff, like that whole area there is now park. Here, there's already park at this spot when I was filming. But I kind of did not realize that I was kind of capturing... Yeah, I didn't realize I was capturing this unique moment in the city's history where... And actually, this connecting railroad, the J Street Connecting Railroad, this was never... A lot of people assume this is streetcar tracks. But it's actually part of what was called the J Street Connecting Railroad. Actually, no, I'm actually going to pull up another one of these. I'm having too much fun with this. I've got a... In real life, the two parks I'm about to show you are directly adjacent Dumbo and the Brooklyn Bridge entrance, respectively. Yeah, they've expanded a lot to this park. They've expanded a lot to this park since then. And did you see if you've seen Spaceship Rat, if you have seen the Genesect movie, this bridge here, the Manhattan Bridge, that blue bridge, you'll recognize that bridge as the bridge that Mewtwo was standing on top of. Because that is weird, because the Unova era of Pokemon Black and Pokemon, the Unova region was based on New York and East New Jersey. But then the movie at the end of the Unova era was based on, they made a city called New York City, which was more explicitly based on New York City than the anime depiction of the Unova region was, which is kind of odd. And then people don't realize, like, in the areas in Pokemon Black and White that they added for Black and White 2, when they added, like, that farm area, like Flacacy Town, and the farm with all the Flaffies on it and stuff, that was actually, people think, like, oh, this is fantasy-based because this stuff isn't in New York City, but in New Jersey, in East New Jersey, there is actually a lot of agricultural stuff throughout a lot of New Jersey. And then when you get to, like, Misteltron City, which is sort of like around where Teterboro would be, when you have, I forgot the name of the town, Misteltron City, whatever, the town with the cold storage facilities, like, that kind of, there's all these shipping and industrial storage, like, areas with, like, container yards with containers and derricks for loading containers onto ships and trains in that area. So let me go, let's go into another, let's let it drop in another video. And we're gonna skip over the ad for my own video. This is probably the first time anyone's watched this video in years, but... And what really frustrates me is that since then, more recently, there have been bigger YouTubers with better production values who have done videos about, like, the connections between New York City and Unova that, like, miss out on a whole bunch of stuff that I cover. And I was like, please, like, I would have... If you had contacted me, I would have been like, I would have given them my photos, the photos that I have. I would have just handed over my research for them to freely use. I'm like, please, even if they had directly plagiarized me, I would have been happier than them missing out on stuff and missing out on all this information about the connection between Unova and New York City and the real life, New York metropolitan area. I'm gonna skip this intro. This intro is basically the same. Okay. So this is actually going into a lot of stuff from the anime. And I filmed this with a... Man, I never quite did that. I filmed some footage for some episodes I never even actually did.
In this episode, I'm going to take you to the real-world parallel of the airport at which Ash arrived in Unova in the first episode of the Pokemon...
Yeah, so this is kind of based on the Pokemon anime, so if you're not familiar with the Pokemon anime, like, basically the first episode specifically, like, I basically was watching this, I'm like, yeah, like, I know specifically where they're at in Brooklyn. Like, they actually used Wikipedia photos of the Belt Parkway to plan some of these scenes, which is kind of crazy. I'm gonna turn this up a little bit.
The locations discussed in this video will be primarily derived from that episode. Being familiar with the anime, we know that Ash arrives in Unova on board a seaplane that docks at an airport near Nuvematown that isn't featured in the games. Using this map for comparison, we can see that Nuvematown is analogous to the southern end of Brooklyn.
But I do find it interesting that the
largest and nearest airport,
that the least interesting aspect of the least ambitious thing they could have done, which was just dropping Pokemon Postal League on Nintendo Switch Online, is the thing that we didn't get. But we got Gen 9 announcement.
Location to the Pokemon League. The next airport after that is in Teterboro, New Jersey, which in the game,
like, honestly, like, it's kind of funny. I don't know what I'm gonna.
So what happened? Did the animators,
like, now that I know Gen 9 is coming, I'm less compelled to.
Maybe, but maybe not.
I'm less compelled to finish Pokemon Legends
Another
Arceus.
airport in New York City. One that was once used by the likes of Howard Hughes and Amelia Earhart. It hasn't served as a municipal airport for
But I
decades,
find it
but it's
weird,
still
like...
intact. Now it's part of the U.S. National Park Service.
In terms of the development history, I find it bizarre now that Pokemon Legends Arceus even exists.
Once hosted airplanes and small seaplanes, providing a direct basis for Ash
I'm
arriving
gonna tweet
via
that.
seaplane in the anime. The yellow exclamation marks in this photo signify the location of Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn, and the equivalent location to where it would have been featured in the game map of Unova. The blue number ones marked on each map represent the equivalent location of New Vemetown, and as we see, they correspond excellently. For the sake of fun, I took this.
Oh yeah, I made this. I forgot I made this.
Floyd Bennett Field and turned it into a poster for the airports featured in Unova in the games and the anime. After an encounter with Team Rocket, who are now awesome, competent, and wear black uniforms,
let me just...
Professor Juniper arrives to give Ash, his mom, and Professor Oak a ride to New Vemetown along a scenic parkway. The route they would have taken from the airport to New Vemetown is highlighted here in red, both on the Unova map and the real-world map. The interesting parallels to be found here are derived in part from the limited resources the artist would have had to work from. The location parallels between Floyd Bennett and the airfield in the cartoon are very strong, and the Pokemon animation team is known to have done first-hand research when planning scenes based on real-life locations, such as Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and even parts of Brooklyn in episodes that appear later in the Pokemon Black and White anime. A brief Wikipedia search about the area local to the real New Vemetown would have made the researchers aware of Floyd Bennett Airfield, and would have given them these two photographs used in the Wikipedia article about the real-life parkway that connects the real New Vemetown and the actual airport. We'll get back to them later. For now, let's hop in Professor Juniper's Jeep and retrace Ash's journey from the airport where he arrived in Unova to the nearby town where Juniper's lab is located.
Yeah, so this right here, this is just straight up what this is like my old neighborhood. I mean, not literally my old neighborhood, but any car trip more than 10 minutes from my house involved me seeing these sites growing up. And yes, all of this is within New York City. People think of New York City as just being Manhattan, but like right now we're basically driving through a wildlife preserve. Or like we're on the edge of a wildlife preserve right here, and we're still within New York City limits. And yeah, and I'm filming this on a 4-megapixel Kodak camera that wasn't even intended to take videos. Wow, Donald Duck is trending on Twitter right now. Yeah, so here we go. Now, here's where I have some more commentary here.
They would have immediately seen this public domain photo of the very location where we're now driving, not at all unlike what's seen in the episode. While the area surrounding the parkway is explicitly urban, it's also immediately adjacent to a wildlife reserve and other parkland, which includes the airport grounds we just left. Even though scenes like this aren't generally associated with New York City, the greenery and wildlife depicted in this scene in the anime actually does have a basis in reality.
I'm really proud of all this research I did. Why is Digimon trending? Is it people complaining that the new Pokemon look like Digimon? Actually, no.
At one point during the driving scene, the Jeep rounds a corner, revealing a body of water where swan are resting, and across the water you can see a landmass. Let's
Land
go
mass. I
further
don't know why I
and see
said
if
it
the
that
real
way.
Parkway
And actually, I think I might have kind of ADR'd in that line.
And indeed it does. The fact that the scene in the anime closely resembles yet another public domain photograph
Alright.
of the same route, which the animators could have easily found had they done a Wikipedia search on the real area that they would have been drawing. Of particular interest is that landmass across the water in both the photograph and in the anime screen cap of the potentially corresponding scene. If they're
I love
driving
this part
along
here.
the southeast coast of eastern Unova, according to the official map, there shouldn't be any land across the water. Yet if we look at a real map of Brooklyn, we find that there really is land that would be visible across the water from that vantage point, exactly as seen in both the possible source photograph and in the anime screen cap. To me, this suggests that they might have referenced photographs from the Wikipedia article on this real parkway as source material for the driving scene in the Pokemon anime. To illustrate where this land would be were it included in a map of Unova, I photoshopped together this fan map that extends to the east of what's seen in the game. I've also circled the potentially corresponding details and then related them to how they would sync up had what they animated appeared on a map of Unova. As for Coney Island, which is the geographical analog to November Town, there aren't many similarities.
Alright.
Some areas resemble
think
a
we've had it.
very
I
brief,
personally
very
have-
generic street
I'm
scene in
done.
the first
So
episode
let's-
of the anime where two kids chase a
How
Minchino down the
about-
sidewalk, but that's a humongous stretch to say the least.
Alright.
However,
so let's...
when exploring November Town in the game, and when looking at official
Let's
artwork,
get rid
you can see a
of-
pier-like area overlooking the water. This, likely by coincidence,
Actually,
is
since I
reminiscent of
happen
an
to
area
have-
immediately local to Coney Island called Sheepshead Bay, which you see here.
Actually, yeah, I just had a silly idea. How about... Since I have YouTube open... How about I...
The most defining features of Coney Island are the complete antithesis of what's seen in November Town, both in the games and anime, and will more than anything else resemble scenes from Nimbasa City,
How
which will
about-
provide the setting for our next episode of Real Unova. I hope this journey enhanced your enjoyment of the Pokemon
get
world and our own
this.
real world, and
I'm
thank you
just gonna
very
drop
much.
this here. No, I want to have the interact window come up.
Towering majestically and with an aura of mysticism which fostered the ancient Celtic beliefs of its sacred background.
Not yet.
Snowdon
It's
at
jumping the gun.
3,560.
Okay, just gonna pause that. And how about I'm gonna shrink that down, and I'm gonna shrink this down. I'm gonna shrink Okay, fine. I'm not going to shrink it down. I'm just going to drag it up to the corner. No, I don't want to drag the Pokemon pinball box. I want to drag... Now this is... Like, this should have taken like 5 seconds to do, and the program just being slow, and this is... computer's not even 6 months old, so... It's a little frustrating, but... I'm able to stream it all, and that's more than I could ever hope for. I'm just glad I'm here and that there's an internet to stream it on. Now please let me enlarge. There we go. So we're just going to... And one other thing I need to do. I need to swap out the monitor again, back to my game, because we're done watching YouTube stuff in terms of it being a main attraction, so I don't need to be able to look directly in front of me. So end in 30 minutes. We'll keep this going for a half hour. And we will mute YouTube. But I will turn on the subtitles. On a stream that's more focused on there you go. Subtitles. Yeah, there we go. There we go. We're ready to roll for another half hour. Yeah, so yeah, Gen 9 announcement, not quite what I was hoping for. Pokemon. Yeah. I'll just change over to retro. You know, I wish Pokemon just as was just a category, like a self-contained category. Wait a second. Did I just? All right, we're good. We're good. Yep. So I got the one thing I specifically didn't want, yet that was the most ambitious and, in a sense, one of the less likely realistic things you could hope for. What I'm sort of baffled by, and I already tweeted about this, is just the idea that why would Pokemon... the fact that Pokemon... Oh, evolutions... Oh, I get to evolve a Pokemon, huh? He's already... Oh. Okay, so now I'm trying to evolve him. Yeah, I'm just kind of confused as to why Pokemon Legends Arceus exists now. Because Pokemon since the moment they first revealed Pokemon Legends Arceus, I felt like this is kind of a revenue-earning field test, a sort of spin-off so that they could experiment with the Pokemon formula without having to risk making an risk that wouldn't be well received in terms of the main Pokemon series. And like, I wonder, let's say Pokemon Legends Arceus got really bad reviews, wasn't well received, would they have not announced, like, Pokemon, what is it? Pokemon, hey, Ian, how you doing? Yeah, I just watched that, the Pokemon Presents presentation. I streamed a live reaction of that, and I was just commenting on the what was announced, the biggest being the new generation of Pokemon. And I wonder if they, like, if Pokemon Legends Arceus wasn't well received, would they have, like, started from scratch with whatever they were working on for for Gen 9 and made it more like Sword and Shield? Yeah, happy Sunday. I'm doing great. Yeah, I just streamed yesterday. I was streaming the Pokemon trading card game here with the Analog Pocket, and now I'm playing Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. I usually don't stream on consecutive days, but it was a special event with it being Pokemon Day and them doing the live the presentation thing. So this is one of the tougher mini games, but I find this one to be the most fun. Yeah, the trading card game for Game Boy Color. Actually, what do I have? Yeah, I have it. When I played that one, I actually put the box and the console cam down there. But I'm not even playing that game now, so. And I played that game before. I even beat that game, but I never played it on the original cartridge before. When I played it, I never played it back in the 90s, even though I liked the trading cards, but I didn't like collecting them. I wanted to play the actual game with people, but none of the kids I knew played the game. So I was waiting. For some reason, when the game came out on Game Boy Color, I never played it. I never asked my parents or grandparents for it or anything. I was just happy with what I already had. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Oh no. Okay, so okay, I thought I ran out of time. I was like, I swear I wasn't even I thought I had like at least close to another minute left. Alright, here we go. Yep, so now that the event is over, it's gonna be a short stream for me. My streams typically don't go for more than 4 or 4.5. Like, including my... Like, I'll start on the hour. I'll schedule the start on the hour, but I'll start the stream up like 10 minutes early to give people time to get alerts and to filter in. But once I go on camera on the hour, I usually stream for 2 hours, take a 10-minute break, then go for another 2 hours. It's not that often that I go for more than a half hour past that second 2-hour section. Yeah, this is I was hoping if they wanted to do some spin-offs for Pokemon, I was hoping they'd make a new Pokemon pinball game. This was a series made by Jupiter Corporation. It does a lot of they did a lot of the Picross. They did Mario Picross on Game Boy and the Super Famicom version, which was only released in Japan. They did a Pokemon Picross game for the Game Boy Color that was not released. It was only discovered and leaked as part of the 2020 Giga Leaks. And then they did a Pokemon pinball for Game Boy Color that actually, the cool thing about that one, if you're not aware, it has a rumble feature in it where you can put in a AAA battery and the game system would rumble with hitting the bumpers and stuff like that. I only rented that game from Blockbuster Video back in the day. And then but I never owned it. And then I never owned Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire, which also was by Jupiter Corporation. Like, this game came out in 2003. I did not own it until long after the Game Boy Advance's lifespan was over. It was into the DS era. I had a job in a discount store, like a dollar store, and I had a 10-minute break in the middle of my shift. And I was like, okay, I don't have time to get into a DS game. And the lockers at the time didn't have locks on them, so I wanted to use an obsolete system that would be less attractive if one of my fellow employees wanted to pick through the lockers and snatch stuff. So it's like, okay, I have my Game Boy Micro, it's obsolete, it's not that attractive to steal, and I want a game that's simple that I could get into for only a few minutes I have for break time. So I ended up going on eBay and finding a copy of this copy of Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. So this is how I unwinded from my that retail job I had at that time. But fortunately, I left that job a long time ago, and I don't work in anything retail related anymore. But this was it wasn't a great job, but playing this game during the breaks, I do have fond memories of, especially since I never played the game before. So I was really discovering the game during those little, 10 minutes, and I had to walk. It was like a minute walk to the clock and a minute walk back. So I had like really 8 minutes to play. So I had a little kid's juice box that they sold, they like packs of at this dollar store, and a little 50-cent bag of chips. And that was my little snack I'd wolf down while playing this game. So even though I did not play this, yeah, this is one of those interesting games. It's interesting to have nostalgia for a game, but that nostalgia is for a previous time in your life, but that previous time had nothing to do with the era in which this was actually a newly released game on a currently supported system. Because when I play like Sonic the Hedgehog on Game Gear, I'm thinking about back in 91 when I got it. When I think of, Mario 64, I'm thinking back in 96 when I got it. I'm not thinking of, when I think of other games like Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire, it was after the Game Boy Advance's lifespan that I played it. When I played through the first maybe 20%-ish of Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, but I did not get that game until the mid to late 2010s, long after the lifespan of Game Boy Advance, long after actually this game. It wasn't as far back as when I got this game, but basically I wanted something I could play on my Game Boy Micro, and so I already had this from like the earlier retail job. And I wanted to have something for my breaks, so I ended up getting Super Mario Advance, which a game I rented on Game Boy Advance. I rented that for, oh wow, it's Slowcath, I think his name is. I forgot his name, this little sloth Pokemon from Gen 3. I went ahead and went to... There was a retro game shop on 48th Street in Manhattan. And I got Super Mario Advance, which I'd only rented from Blockbuster Video back in the day. Never owned it myself, even though I do have the box for my friend and the manual for my friend as well. So now I have complete in box Super Mario Advance, even though I never actually bought the game. Like the box, the manual, and the game don't go with each other, but I have it now complete in box, which I never really thought about till just now. And then I got Fire Red and Leaf. No, I got Leaf Green is what they had. If they only had Fire Red, I would have got that too. I think they only had Leaf Green. They had one copy, and I wanted to get it from. It was a very esteemed, sort of high-end vintage game shop. I think it was like $50 to $70 at the time back then. I think it's even more now. Cart only. But I know I could have gotten it cheaper. But there was, even back in like the late 2010s, there were so many counterfeits going around that are really hard to tell until you actually get it, that I didn't want to risk getting it on eBay. I wanted to go to a high-end game shop in the city. I know, I had them open up the game for me, and it looked legit. So I went ahead and got that. I played about another 40 minutes to maybe even an hour of Pokemon Leaf Green when I was putting this analog pocket device that I'm playing on through it when I was test driving it back in December when I first got it. But what I want to do is I have a copy of Pokemon Red. It wasn't my copy from back in the day, but I got it in like 2000, maybe 3 or 4, back when you could just get that at any GameStop, pretty, $10-20, whatever. It wasn't a big deal. Like now, where you're paying like I don't know whatever, even just loose copies of Pokemon OG go for really expensive prices, and there are too many counterfeits around. So I was able to just casually buy it secondhand as an impulse purchase. I wasn't even planning to get it. I just saw it and I'm like, yeah, I'll get it. And I'm happy to have basically every generation of Pokemon except for Diamond and Pearl, which I can't output to a HDMI anyway using a DS, so it doesn't even matter that much. But I'm glad that all my Pokemon games, Leaf Green is the only Pokemon game in my collection that I did not purchase directly from stores or in relatively early on from a used game shop before like bootlegs and counterfeiting became a problem. Yeah, but for Gold and Silver, I got that from shops back in the day. Pokemon Sapphire, I got from a Target back in the day. I never cared about Pokemon Gen 4 at the time. I probably will never end up playing it, but when it came time for Pokemon Gen 5, actually, I'm making... But what I want to do is I want to do streams where when I get my copy of Pokemon Red that's in a storage unit that's like a 10-hour drive from me in a different region where I used to live, where I still have a storage unit, because I do have some friends and family in that area, so I left the storage unit over there. But next time I visit, them in my old region, and that I'm going to go ahead and get my copy of Pokemon Red out of the storage unit. What I'm going to do in the lead up to Pokemon Gen 9, I'm going to do a side-by-side stream. I'm going to do a side-by-side series where for 2 hours I'll play Pokemon Red, which it's not a game. I only replayed that game once in maybe 2007. I played it once in the 90s and never played through it again from beginning to end until 2007. And so I remember the game by heart, but I only having played through it a couple times. So it's not like I played it 100 times. And I never played through Fire Red and Leaf Green. I don't know all the changes, all the little subtle differences and major differences. So I'm gonna do a streams where I play for 2 hours. I'll play Pokemon Red, then for 2 hours I'll play Pokemon Leaf Green, and I'll compare the remake, and I can play because I can play both of those games on my analog pocket. So I'll be able to play them side by side. I won't even have to swap out the HDMI to a different system or anything. So I'll be able to compare the remake and the original side by side, and in the lead up to playing the new generation of Pokemon. I'm not sure how... Yeah, I did not expect them to announce Gen 9 so soon. I'm not sure if I care so much about Pokemon Legends Arceus anymore. I was going to play that every several streams going forward. Every, 4th stream, maybe. If I don't beat if I don't beat Pokemon Legends Arceus by the start of July, I'm probably not going to end up beating the game, because I don't want to be playing that all year and then go straight into the new generation of Pokemon. Alright. And I just hope, they didn't show any battles, but I just really hope the new Pokemon game, it's obviously running on the Legends Arceus engine, and you have these vast areas of Pokemon out in the wild. I just really hope they actually go ahead and just use the battle system, because they could have the Pokemon Legends Arceus like engine, but use the battle system, the more traditional Pokemon battle system from Sword and Shield. I just hope they stick with the Pokemon Legends Arceus battle system and have the battles actually take place in the areas of the world that you're in, instead of going to a separate battle screen. Because even in Pokemon Sword and Shield, there are so many embarrassing moments where it would go to like a generic checkerboard land that looks like you're like in it looks like an asset left over from beta testing environments or something like that, where it's like, I can't believe they actually put that in the final game. That would not be tolerated for a mainline Mario, mainline Zelda. But right now, my future streams going forward. My plans for my future streams. Oh, my next stream. I'm going to drop the link right there in chat. Yeah. Excuse me. Okay, that's... I forgot to update that. No, so my next stream is going to be next Saturday, which should be the... Let's see, next Saturday should be... Yeah, next Saturday is going to be the 12th of March. Yeah, next Saturday is going to be the... No, it's not going to be... No, next Saturday is going to be the last stream... No, next Saturday is going to be the 5th of March. Because it's already over to the new week. I forgot to read the calendar right. Yeah, so next Saturday is going to be March 5th at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to be specific. And I'm going to be playing Animorphs for Game Boy Color. And doing a watch party of the Animorphs television series through the second... Because we already did a watch party of the first half of the series. So now I'm going to do the second half. And finish off the series. I'm only going to play Pokemon for Game Boy Color... Animorphs for Game Boy Color for an hour. Because that game is awful. Playing it really is just sort of for the meme of it. More so than anything else. Evolution Select. We're gonna try to evolve Barbroach here. Come on. We only have 2 minutes to... We have to get those EX targets that are up there for... I guess that stands for experience. And our goal is to collect enough of those to light up the word Evo. And the EVO. Which will, Yeah, in this mode I do think you have infinite balls. E. V. Come on. Please be some... Okay. I see where my next target's gonna be. I have a little less than 90 seconds. Well, now significantly less than 90 seconds, because the time flies so fast. Yeah, so ignore that there. What it's gonna happen is I'm gonna... Yeah, Animorphs next Friday, or next Saturday, on the Saturday the 5th. And Evolution Get! Man, all this almost reminds me, like the way it says Evolution with the scrolling thing, like, hey, we got Wish Cash! We love you, Wish Cash, you cute electric ground whale. I think he's electric ground whale, right? Yeah. And we go straight to the bonus round. Yeah, but after the Animorph stream, I'm gonna work on Kirby's Adventure for NES, which is gonna be the first time I've played this since actually on NES back in 2001. Which sounds like a long time ago, and I played it on an actual system, but at the time I was playing it, it already felt like I was playing a super old retro game on a super old ancient system. I mean, I remember the commercials on television for Kirby's Adventure, and when I was seeing those commercials, it was before... Like, at that point, I already had Game Gear and Sonic the Hedgehog, but I didn't really care much about Nintendo. I just knew of the Kirby character, and there were Kirby games for Game Boy and NES from those commercials. Like, I have a tape from American Thanksgiving 2000, American Thanksgiving 93, and it was probably the last holiday season they were really marketing the NES as a budget alternative to the Super Nintendo, which had already been out for a few years by then. And there were lots of commercials for not only Game Boy, Game Boy's Kirby's Dream Land, the first game, but for Kirby's Adventure, the second game, which was on NES. And there were also commercials for Tetris 2, which was on Game Boy and NES. And between Tetris 2 and Kirby's Adventure, those were frankly probably the last major NES commercials for Nintendo published games. And by then, when they have commercials for like Kirby's Adventure, for Tetris 2, they were showing the top-loading redesign for the NES in commercials with the what they call the Dogbone controller, rather than the original what they call the toaster style original model front-loading NES with the hatch, and you slide the cartridges in on the front like a VCR. Oh man, we got the evolution in, but we're not doing so hot with this bonus match. Can we score? Do we dare to whisper of a dream? To get the last hit in. No, we're not gonna. The last hit in just as the timer hit 0 and get those bonus points. But not happening. Alright. Okay, we fell right into the gutter. And Ruby, Sapphire, we're gonna go with Ruby, and for probably our last game of the of our last round of this session. No, we're not. Not gonna happen. I just thought of something. I don't think I'm gonna do it though. I just thought of doing like an old TV frame for an old TV frame, because I do this with my when I play Sega Master System. I have a frame of an old like 80s, early 90s television, because that's the kind of sort of TV you'd play that system on back in the day. And then Master System games tend to have a very large loading seam that they cover over by having this big frame. And the way, with the curvature of an old tube television, it would tend to be the case that most of the loading seam was kind of covered over. Whereas when you play it on a modern monitor through a solution like the Analog Mega SG, you just have this huge ugly frame around the edge that you might not have actually seen on an original television. In fact, Kirby's Adventure is one of those later NES games. Super Mario Bros. 3 also had this, where there was the loading seam on with some of the mapper chips they used in those later NES games to maximize what the system could do, to basically put the NES a whole generation ahead of what it launched as, with those simple black box games, stuff like NES Pinball, Clue Clue Land, a port of Donkey Kong. Going from that to having stuff like Kirby's Adventure, things like Super Mario Bros. 3, they added extra chips into the cartridges to enable those capabilities. But with the way those games, the graphics loaded in, there was sort of on the right or left, usually it was, there would be sort of a seam where the graphics would be loading into the game in an unassembled manner. So it kind of makes it look like the left or right side of the screen is slightly glitched out. But that's just how the game works. And I've seen someone years ago on the IGN forum, there was this hilarious thread where some idiot was complaining. I mean, I'm not calling him an idiot for not knowing this. I'm calling him an idiot for his response to it, how he reacted and dealt with it. they were complaining, oh, like the emulation on the 3DS version of Super Mario Bros. 3 on the Virtual Console sucks because the graphics are glitched out on the edge of the screen. And people are saying, no, that's just how the game was. They're like, oh, well, why didn't they fix it? You know, they couldn't even run the game right. I'm like, it's running the game perfectly. And he's saying they should have, like, edited it out, which means they would have just cropped up the screen, which meant that the game's frame wouldn't have even been the right aspect ratio. And they're like, oh, well, don't complain to me just because the 3DS emulation, the NES emulation on 3DS is a polished turd. And I'm like, that's like watching like the Universal Pictures versions of Dracula or Frankenstein and complaining that they didn't, like, if they release those on Blu-ray, it's like complaining that, oh, these are bad versions because they're not in color. And oh, just because the original was black and white doesn't mean that the re-release should be. And it's like, no, it was filmed in black and white. The costumes, the set designs, the way the shadows fall, all of that was designed specifically for photography in black and white. And that's why things like the colorized versions of films that Turner was putting out in the late 80s and early 90s were such a disgrace to film historians and film aficionados. When they're like, when you take something like an extreme example, when you take a film like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, where they very specifically were filming this, like they made the sets even with painted in, like baked in shadows in some cases, using deliberately the black and white effects of filming on that, the film technology to create a unique style and atmosphere for the movie, and then you colorize something like that, it destroys it. It destroys the artistic vision of the film. And to a much less severe extent, that's kind of also why I personally have never been able to play Link's Awakening DX on Game Boy Color. I mean, I would have played... I had Game Boy Color. I never had Link's Awakening DX. I played... When I first played Link's Awakening, it was on the original model black and white DMG 001, the gray brick Game Boy. And for me, that was how I experienced the game. So when the 3DS Virtual Console, the 3DS eShop launches, and you can now buy a Link's Awakening, I was so annoyed that the only option to play the game was the DX version on Game Boy Color, which theoretically is the best 8-bit version of the game up until they did the full rebuild of the game on Switch a couple years ago. But to me, I'm like, I would have bought the game if you could play the black and white original, because to me, the fact that it was in black and white was just part of my experience with the game. And the colorized version is like watching a colorized version of Casablanca, a colorized version of Nosferatu, or the colorized version of Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, where it's just not true to the spirit of the film. It's not... Oh my gosh, oh wow. I have no idea what's running. I have no idea what's playing on my... I have no idea what's running. I want to bring up the interact. What is this? I'm... Wait a second. Properties. No, I'm very... interact? The Victorian Steam Railway... Okay, I am going to... This might be... Yeah, that's going to be a video this will be a video I'm definitely going to be going back to in the future. Because I do not have that in my current library of videos. But it's one I want to go back to. That locomotive there, I don't think that locomotive is even original. Isn't that locomotive from, like, France or something? I'm not sure. But yeah, this is a video I'm definitely going to be adding to my playlist of future train videos to be watching. And fortunately, this is a short stream because my wrists are aching a bit from... Normally, I basically don't play video games outside of when I'm streaming. And to play for 4 hours yesterday and then another 2 hours, I guess, in total today, my wrists are starting to hurt a little bit. My right wrist is starting to burn a tad. So I'm glad it's going to be another week before I pick up the controller again. Can we get a... I never beat this minigame before. Can we... No, we can't. And no way it's happening now. Not to be negative, but I'm just being realistic. Oh. And... Alright, we're going to turn off YouTube there, and we're going to go over to my my end screen. Yep, so that'll be it for today. I'll be back Saturday, March 5th. So this will be the last stream for February. I'll be back on Saturday, March 5th at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Animorphs for Game Boy Color, and we're also going to continue the second half and finale of our watch party of the 1990s Nickelodeon animated, television adaptation. It was live action, not animated, for the Animorphs show. So I will call it there. I will see you next time. I just want to give a quick shout out to my artists who have done the art for me that I use in this stream. So I will see you next month, next Saturday, at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm only going to be playing Animorphs for Game Boy Color for about an hour because the game's awful. I can barely stand it. But it's just a cool way to start off the stream and everything. So I will see you next time. And thank you very much for joining me for the Pokemon Day 2022. And thanks for watching.